Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now Black Panther Civil War buff is live, so I immediately got out testing. We're going to compare his damage output with a couple of other champions, and ultimately I'll show you the playstyle and give you my thoughts and opinions about the champion at the end, and my own, personal plans. Will I not rank him up, so on and so forth. So we're going to start with the basic playstyle. The basic playstyle is parry as much as you can. Do not finish your combos and dash back. Try to parry special attacks. And there we go. That's how you build the charges. As you can see, I'm currently level 37. And every time you parry, you gain 3. Every time you parry special attacks, you gain more. And now that I have a fairly decent chunk of charges, I will just use my level, heavy attack and chain level 2. That's what you want to do with him, because then you get the kinetic burst on every single hit, not just the heavy attack, and you also get some juicy bleeds. So this is a 6-star rank 3, no special masteries or boosts or anything of the sort active, and as you can see, you just basically rinse and repeat. Level 2 is for more damage because the bleeds are stronger and there are more hits, therefore you deliver more sets of burst damage. Level 1 can help you ramp up mainly, and you can also use it for damage too. But again, it's less hits, so less burst. Level 1 is also to get cleanse charges, which is something we're going to get to talk later, but it's 4 cleanse charges, which is actually quite a lot. Most champions kind of get less. And here we can see again going for those bursts, decent amount of damage there. And yeah, so that's basically how you use him. It's very straightforward. It's not necessarily the most practical playstyle. It's going to be parry 2-3 hits, dash back, parry 2-3 hits, dash back, and then drop your special. So here I dropped it again, just a bit short to finish it off, and now I'm going to have to go for like 2 full combos because his damage without those bursts and bleeds is, well, relatively small. So in total, this fight took nearly 2 minutes, 1:56. It's not ideal or amazing, but it's not awful either. And Black Panther Civil War is a champion that I feel like is made for fairly specific length fights that would be more in line with Battlegrounds rather than Everest content, where you have to take these, hundreds of thousands of, million of HP down. So, just how his damage compared with Stealthy and Black Panther's Black Widow Deadly Origins. So, Stealthy is one of the more well-known science nukes. I chose champions that I had exactly the same rank level, so these are 6-star rank 3 champions, all of them, and obviously Stealthy does it faster. Again, nearly 2 minutes for Black Panther. Stealthy has 1 minute 26, which is to be expected because he's one of the fastest skill champions, and Deadly Origins had 2:11, so slightly slower. So ultimately, I'd say in general, his damage output is quite solid in long fights, but I did think that in shorter fights it would be better, like Battlegrounds level. So this would be appropriate comparison for 6-star rank 3 to compare it for Battlegrounds length fight. And he does better here for sure, in my opinion. Again, the playstyle is going to be exactly the same. Just parry as much as you can, 2-3 hits, build up to your level 2, and then chain your heavy into that. So do not finish your combos. The problem is also the matchups where you cannot parry special attack hits, you kind of ramp up slower. Like if I could reliably parry the Deadpool's level 1, I would ramp up faster and I would finish this fight out even quicker. There is one thing that I forget when I started comparing this Deadpool fight though, and I'm going to discuss that in a second. However, that level 2 is still absolutely massive. Obviously, the issue is that you kind of take slightly bit longer getting there because you're not doing full combos. You're not necessarily having, the fastest acquisition of power. It was 45 seconds, long story short. Here, I tested out Black Widow Deadly Origins, and Black Widow Deadly Origins was 39 seconds. So here, Black Widow Deadly Origins is slightly quicker as a nuke, and 39 seconds also for Stealthy. Then I, however, remembered that Black Panther actually deals less burst damage specifically against mutants. So I went back in there and did this fight against Venom the Duck, which I thought would be more fair comparison, especially because I should have slightly easier time parrying at least 1 or 2 hits of his level 1s. So either block it or parry it, but fair enough. And obviously here he doesn't receive the 20% burst damage penalty as well, which is quite significant for him. So here I have 43 charges, which I feel like is fairly decent ramp up. 51, 54, go for it. And here we can see those bursts doing work. Right. And that's it, that's the fight. This fight was actually faster than it was against Deadpool, largely because we could parry the special attack hit and didn't receive that penalty. And at this point, he already confidently overtook Deadly Origins and was almost as fast as Tales Spider-Man, which is fast. So, in my opinion, we can kind of safely say Black Panther has quite a lot of damage. And that's good. That's very solid for sure. Now, my own thoughts and opinions about the champion. And ultimately, first of all, I think it's a very, very solid upgrade. I think Black Panther is obviously much better than he was. And he's decent now. He's not bad by any means. He's kind of nuky. However, and this is going to go specifically for kind of like more competitive content. I do think if you like Black Panther, if you like the playstyle, he's awesome champion to rank up for like story content, whole bunch of things. If you're talking specifically about Battlegrounds, then I have an issue with Black Panther. And that issue is that in order for champion to be generically kind of good right now in Battlegrounds, you have to effectively counter either like Photon, Serpent, Bullseye, Onslaught, and a handful of other champions. Enchantress, so on and so forth. You know, your common, your Atumas, your Korgs, Killmongers. And he is a good option against exactly none of them. His best matchups obviously would be in Science class with a big kind of asterisk on Photon, because you do need to block and parry a lot. And you don't really want to do that against Photon. You can't punish Photon after you parry her, or she's going to ramp up faster. And if you do have those debuffs on, there's going to be an insane amount of block damage. And doing a parry heavy special obviously is going to be fairly tricky against Photon as well. And if you just want to punish her heavy with heavy, that, you know, could involve taking a lot of block damage. Obviously, he's going to be decent-ish against a handful of Science champions. But in order to do that, you kind of need to alter your playstyle, which is you need to throw your level 1s to get those cleanse charges to kind of fully combat this Science class, which does mean that you're going to suffer a reduction of damage as well, kind of. Ultimately, he also doesn't have like an evade counter, which would be helpful against the Science class evaders and stuff, or, you know, a miss counter in general. He doesn't do those things. He's basically just pure damage, kind of. Bleed and burst damage. And cleanse. Cleanse in itself, again, is nice. He's going to have some good Science matchups, some perhaps less than great. Obviously, going up against skill classes already listed, I don't think he's a particularly great counter against like any of the meaningful skill defenders. Be that, you know, Bullseye, Tuma, or whoever. Then we have Mutant class. Obviously, he's not really meant to counter the Mutant class, but, you know, he takes damage reduction, and naturally he doesn't match great against the mutants. We have tech champions. Again, some of whom he will do kind of okay. Like, I think he would be okay against Red Skull, for instance, because you do not give opponent too much power as you're ramping up, and his reduced ability accuracy for stuns can be quite decent if you can like reparry a lot. and ultimately his resistance to crits, his crit rating resistance, will not be significant because you do a lot of bleed and burst damage. So I think there he's going to be fine, and you know, a couple of other ones, but not necessarily destroying the tech class. And similar to the Cosmic class, obviously Cosmic class doesn't have that many commonly seen champions in Battlegrounds as defenders, aside from like Serpent, but he's not going to be great against Serpent for obvious reasons. Serpent has, you know, Pierce, he does a lot of block damage and the power gain mitigation. So he's far from the best counter. He's not going to be the best for. And Maestro, he actually might be decent. I don't know, need to test that out. But definitely not Hulkling, because there's going to be the Pierce and the block damage. And there's, you know, not much helping in a way there. And then again, Mystic class were not necessarily the best. He's going to be no better than an average champion with no buffs against Enchantress. He can't really do like Werewolf or Absman well, because those champions punish you heavily by taking blocked hits. And that's my issue. Where I see Black Panther landing in the game, I think he's going to be quite hyped, and you know, we're going to see a lot of cool look at the damage videos for sure. I do think he's going to be a fun, cool questing champion if you like him. I actually think he could be useful for some Alliance War stuff, where you can boost up, play slow, and you know, utilize the cleanse, because for cleanse passives that last quite a while on level 1's quite a lot. Especially if you kind of like hit opponents sparingly, like if need be, I genuinely think you could do something like Hazard Shift, for instance, where you need, you know, you let a few debuffs through, but effectively by doing like mediums or medium lights, you can slowly build yourself up to level 1 and then carry on doing so. And perhaps with that mastery that reduces ability procs whilst opponents are stunned, you take something like Hazard Shift, Purifying It, or a handful of other nodes. So I can see potential maybe as a niche alliance for use. And obviously in Battlegrounds, if we're gonna have a meta that specifically requires his skill set, that rewards amounts of burst damage, requires you to parry a lot, or requires you to have cleanse effects, he would do great. In general though, in wild circumstance, would I put him in my deck if I had him 6-star rank 5 ascended right now? No. Probably not. Unless there's some very specific meta. Like, would I put him in my deck in the crit me meta? No. Would I put him in the deck in the current metas? No. Would I put him in the deck in likely upcoming ones? Also no. So, I think the buff's fine. I'm not going to harp on it too much. I don't think it's like an awful buff on he's an awful champion. No, he's significantly better than he was. Do I think he's offensively amazing now that we need to go out of our way to rank him up, add him to our decks, and, you know, use him everywhere? Also kind of no. There is an asterisk to that, because I do think that he's slightly better as a defender now, because number one, he doesn't rely on those armor buffs, and he starts with his stun reflect active, and there's nothing for like mystics to nullify as well, or for, you know, champions to get rid of or armor break him. And AI is very finicky, and getting clipped by like a single hit is really common these days. And then when you do get clipped, obviously you can take a lot of burst damage, so that's going to be super painful. And also, you know, with the AI, with you not being able to stun him, there will be metas, especially, I don't know about generically, but there will definitely be metas that will make him quite hard on defense, especially if they do require you to stun the opponent, or, you know, imply that you need stunning. For instance, if there's some sort of heavy knockdown meta or something. So it's better. It is something that we need to be aware of, but I wouldn't put him in the competitive tiers of the game right now. Maybe I'm underestimating him, but let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you soon. Bye bye. Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information